Okay, everyone, time to review some new EXs. And yeah, we're not going to be reviewing the new summons, the new vision cards, or the new raid equipment, or Chocobo's 3-star in this video. That will be coming in a separate video later. Today, we're just talking about the new EXs. So, we got 2 wind characters and 1 earth, so I think it's a good idea. Or, no, sorry, not an earth. Shame on me. It is a fire-based character. So Lilyth, or I always call her Lilith just because I'm very used to that being a character's name in a lot of media. So let's talk about her really quickly. Before Knight Soldier Ranger, now she's got her EX. Is her EX worth it? Well, if you're interested in the if you're interested in the Fire Vision quest, or the Fire EX quest, or the Fire Selection quest, whatever it's called, because I'm tripping over my words at this point. Lilith will be absolutely worth it if you're interested in completing that. She was already useful before in that quest, and now she's going to be much more useful. Matter of fact, I'm kind of a fan. Taking a look at what upgrade she gets some speed, some defense, some attack, and HP node, so kind of a general just blanket stats that you'd want to see on a character like this. The speed upgrades are actually in a fair number, which should be a nice little improvement for her overall and make her a little more competitive. Not a ton, but a little bit. So what are the upgrades she gets? Well, first of all, we have this one. This is her AP damage one, and this ability is kind of interesting. We'll come back to it in a second, because this is the other one. This is one of her lower tier abilities, one of her most basic ones. Just increase max HP, restore HP raised for a few turns, it's essentially regeneration. So what did they give it that's better now? Well, by upgrading, you get auto restore. So she actually has a natural bells effect in her kit now. Not only is it just giving her, increased max HP, restoring some HP, but restoring AP makes it a core ability for herself. A 15% regeneration for 3 turns, which is really quite good. I mean, this is an ability I was not expecting to see on a unit, so yeah, I have to say that I just really like this ability. I think it boosts her EX to being, just a pretty good character. Having that means you don't need to run bells on her. She's pretty self-reliant. She's, keeping herself healed. So I really think that this is strong. Now, as for the other ability we're talking about, this ability is less great, in my opinion. It's AP damage of 12%, and it essentially gets a range increase. Let's just scroll down for a second. Here it is. So what did it have before? Essentially 1 in any direction. And now it has 2, directly in front, behind, to her left, or her right. That's essentially what you get. This upgrade is not exciting. I don't think it's worth it, but if you're going to upgrade her anyway, you might as well get it. It's, a 12% AP damage is pretty painful. But thankfully, her job level 25 ability is considerably better. It's a 200% modifier, so it deals a pretty good amount of damage already. It's AoE, 2 uses, 30 AP apiece, but decreases the enemies who get hit by it by 40. So it's a pretty heavy amount of AP damage AoE. This is something that I think is really good. I think it's good for the selection quest. I think it's good for PvP when you have limited conditions. I think this character is a pretty big threat without, it's frostbite without being frostbite. It's not multiple turns and it doesn't stop regeneration, but it is a lot of AP reduction on an enemy. Now, it's a little bit of a cost, but it is supplemented by the fact that she has auto restore in her own kit. So I'm pretty happy with her. I think that we could give her maybe an A- for a lower tier character. I don't think she's going to, break the meta or anything. I don't think that she will be a natural meta character, but when you need a lower tier fire character, potentially because of cost restrictions, she's definitely a character I would consider strongly. All right, so now we can jump over to the wind element. We're going to be talking first of all about our favorite lower tier Dragoon, Sosha. As you can see, I've even built my Sosha a little bit. That's how much I actually like her. So Dragoon, Warrior, Ranger. What are we looking at? Well, taking a look at stats, another HP node. We got some agility in here, some attack, a bit of dexterity. You know, there's some okay stuff here, but that's not the real conversation. The real conversation is talking about her upgrades, and her upgrades are not super exciting for me. I have to say, this is a little disappointing. So this one right here, let's start with, do we want to start with this? Or, no, we'll start with this one. So she has two buffs. One to her general attack increase ability that gave her, a 42% attack increase. Now it's giving her some spirit, 20 for 3 turns. Okay, I don't know if so. It's really the character you were bringing against mages already, maybe, but kind of weird. Restore CT by 250 for self as well, so it kind of gives her a little bit of CT back, so she can go up against, other enemies. Oh, sorry, it's this one, wrong one. Anyway, yeah, this is a nice buff. It was always a nice buff for an attack boost. I don't know if the spirit makes sense. I think it probably would have been better to have physical protection, and the restore CT is nice, but I don't know if it's good enough, really. All right, as for other ability, this is her large range ability. She's still 3 uses, still 24 AP, 220% modifier, so an extremely big amount of damage that can be done off of this just from the modifier. But the only thing it's getting is a 25% chance to inflict silence, and that's it. So pretty underwhelming in my opinion. Also because it's on an ability with casting time, and I don't know if I really like the casting time thing. And that leads us into her last ability. It's another, casting time ability here. Break physical barrier for the targets, 220% modifier, good. A nice AoE. She gets some AoE here. She gets 3 uses, 30 AP apiece. And it cancels ability activation. But that timing, Oberyn has been, as a character, has spoiled Dragoons just for having homing-based jumps and just good, powerful attacks and status effects. Sosha doesn't have that. She has casting time. I think it's going to be a problem for her. You probably have to try too hard to, get rid of it and make her really, really reliable. So I love Sosha. I love her design. I think she's an awesome looking Dragoon. But I have to say that I think her EX is pretty bad. I don't think it's good enough. Even just taking out her casting time, like it's 280 at max time. I don't know. You can run the missile attack and decrease attack skill activation, but honestly, I just feel like she's still an underwhelming character, and I don't think she's worth the build. So I'm sorry, Sosha fans. I'm one too, but I give this character like C+ at best. Just not worth the upgrade. All right, and finishing it off, we will finish at the top with Lu'Cia, or Lu'Cia, or however it's pronounced, because I honestly don't remember. But let's take a look at her and see what she gets. First of all, taking a look at stats, we have some, some HP. We got a little bit of attack in there, some more HP, a little bit of speed boost. HP node, all of that is okay. I don't think that HP is the thing I wanted to see for this character. I think we really wanted to see a more attack boost to make her stronger. So kind of a little disappointing. I'm a little disappointed in basically the stats. But HP, I think if you're trying to make your gunner more survivable when most of their attacks are ranged anyway, probably something didn't work here. So taking a look at the upgrade, first of all, this ability is her buff ability for herself and others. It increases missile attack, it increases defense penetration. So, missile attack for allies, you need to be running a team of gunners. Defense penetration for self, that's good. But what does it get as a big increase? It increases range for Lucia for 3 turns by 1. Range increase doesn't feel really what I was hoping for. I mean, yes, it's a good buff, and she'll use it quite often. But it requires a very specific party to be really used, and spending a turn to get just an extra range, even if you're getting those buffs, it's nice. But I don't think it does enough. I would rather a height buff on some of her abilities than this, so she has a little more flexibility. This is not exciting to me. I don't really care too much. It's a little more efficiency, but it doesn't feel like it's probably going to make that big of a difference for her. Next ability is her support ability, agility and defense penetration. Good thing, you're always running this ability, so now you're getting acquired AP up by 30, and increased range by 1. So 2 range increases in her kit essentially. It feels a little much, but it pads out her ability's capability of attacking from a greater distance. And acquired AP is just good to have, but is this really worth throwing in all the resources you need to? Possibly, but you really want to commit to Lucia as a gunner. And, of course, our job level 25 ability. Taking a look at this, massive range on this thing. 5 uses, 24 AP, piercing damage, 165% modifier, and a 25% chance to inflict slow. This is the big payoff, I think, in her kit. The other stuff is nice. The buff ability, getting a little buff is okay, but not terribly exciting. Her, support skill getting an increase is good, but this is the ability you're really upgrading for. The slow is aggravating. It is a single target, but you are getting piercing damage on it. So I think there is a good amount of stuff here. I don't know if it's super amazing, but it's interesting enough to be a real consideration. But I think if you're looking at this character, you're probably looking at a single hit target specialist now, maybe a little bit more in PvP to focus on a potential entire mono wind elemental team. But yeah, if I'm to categorize this character's upgrade, basically solid, not amazing. I don't think that this character is going to reshape the meta either. I just think that she's a good unit now. I think that she will be a very good, range unit for the wind-based summon. But if you take a look at something like a character like Prompto just feels better because he has more status effects, he can do more stuff, his kit's a lot more updated. And, of course, he's a collaboration unit and whatnot compared to this unit. But yeah, I think that for fans of Lu'Cia, she will be very much in, people will be happy for her upgrades. But it just doesn't feel like some of the previous EXs we've seen recently where it was just like, yeah, this speaks to me kind of thing. This is just good. This is like B+ or A-, really depending on whether or not you're using a wind elemental team. But if you already have like Frederica into EX, if you do get Prompto into EX, I think those units will generally be better. I have had, or let me put it this way, it may not be necessarily worth spending the resources here. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the EXs. I think solid batch overall with Sosha just being the one that feels really weird and not so great. She's essentially a mage killer now, and that feels very strange. But I'm not convinced that's where you should be spending your resources. So instead, spend it on Lucia or Lilyth and enjoy those characters because I think they're pretty good. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.